Do you remember the last time you created something with someone special when you were younger? It may have not been a masterpiece, but it means a lot to you. Since today is National Best Friends Day, my best friend Silver and I wanted to share something that we created together a long time ago when we were young teenagers, a blog called wheredidbirdieGo.wordpress.com. We both hold this blog dear to our hearts because it's a piece of our history forever preserved on the internet. So sit back, relax, and let Silver and I tell you a story from years ago. Residents of the Maple Woods. Hey outside world, this is my first true connection with you guys. It's really exciting because I finally get to talk to you guys and share my life. So I'll start by introducing myself. I'm Kyra, I'm 15 years old, and I live in the Maple Woods along with many other people. You probably won't find us because the scientists do a pretty good job of hiding us. Usually kids and teens don't work here, but sometimes I work with fashion and clothes designing. And I also help out at the one and only clothing store/shop. I never had any connection to the outside world because the scientists finally came around to providing us computers and internet. So it's super exciting to all of us. Unfortunately, they blocked many sites because they don't want anybody to track us, but unfortunately, they said no one can track us through this site. Another thing about our town is that everyone is concerned and constantly looking for a girl named Birdie. She was an escaped experiment, and for whatever reason, she means a lot to all the scientists. On the trees of these woods, you can always see signs asking, "Where's Birdie? Where did Birdie go? Where did Birdie go?" Or missing signs like "Missing Birdie." Our residents are quite obsessive about her, actually. Another thing about the Maple Woods is that it's haunted by a bloody woman ghost. Most people call it the BWG. She's terrifying. In fact, we're all taught how to stay safe from her at a very young age. Anyway, my best friend Silver will be posting on this blog too. We've been friends forever since we've been taken here, so watch out for her posts. Kyra.
Silver Inn. Hi, I'm Silver. My story is pretty similar to Kyra, so you probably know where I come from. This is my first time being on internet, so sorry if I'm misspelling words. It's very exciting and a whole new experience for me and Kyra. But anyway, I'm Silver and I'm 13 years old. The scientists have been very generous by giving me and Kyra some connection to the outside world. No, we aren't aliens. We just live in the Maple Woods with the scientists like normal people. Unlike Kyra, I have no job because I am too young, but when the scientists need help, they call up for me to help with the projects. Also, every morning in the lab, before meals and before bed, the scientists give me a drink to keep me sane because they work on me a lot. I don't know what that means, but the scientists say that it helps my health. If I don't take my dose, then I become a freak, whatever that means. But I still never skip a day. Anyways, you are probably wondering, what is Maple Woods? I am not allowed to tell in details, but Maple Woods is a section in the woods. It's pretty difficult to find, but the sky is always red, making it seem magical and unreal. The scientists say that far on the other side of the woods, the sky is blue. Doesn't that sound silly? It's impossible for me to imagine that. So that is all for now. I hope to see others enjoy me and Kyra's posts. Silver out.
Rainy day. As much as I'd like to show you guys what the Maple Woods looks like in color, I can't because every photo taken here can only ever be taken in black and white. Anyway, these are what our trees look like. They've been experimented on too, that's why they might look strange to an outsider. Anyway, today was a really weird day to be honest. It was raining, which is something that never happens here unless the bloody woman ghost is coming. She hasn't come in a year actually, but it's no surprise to us that she would come now. Usually rain is a 1-month signal, but it's very unreliable, of course. I'm almost certain that when the rain stops, all the scientists and residents will start to prepare ourselves for when the bloody woman ghost comes to visit. Anyway, blogging is supposed to be about my life, right? Well, besides the fact that today was a rainy day, the scientists decided not to perform any experiments on me, so I decided to go visit Miss Gracie so that I could practice and learn more about makeup art. I find it extremely interesting because makeup is such a rare thing to find here. Now that we have internet, I'm learning so many new things about makeup and fashion. But I have to admit, the fashion and makeup styles in the outside world are quite strange. Styles such as everyday or natural don't exist here. We only wear styles which you guys say is fancy. Outsiders also seem to lack wearing jewels on their faces. You'll never find a girl or a woman here without jewels at least underneath their eyes. Men and boys tend to wear jewels on their ears. After my visit with Miss Gracie, I went to our downtown to eat lunch at the kitchen. Truthfully, everything is close together in our section of the woods. You'll find houses near shops and you'll find shops near houses. I like it that way though, because it keeps all the residents close together, but it's not like we have a choice to move further away or have more space because it's very limited in the space that the scientists decided to keep us in. After lunch, it started to rain, so I decided to stay inside for a while and just talk to see what the latest gossip was around. While talking, Silver just came inside all wet and dripping with rainwater all over her. I couldn't help but laugh at her innocence. She didn't know that the rain was a sign of danger, but that's all right. Silver and I are here as I type right now. Luckily, I'm bringing my computer everywhere so I have something to do even when there's absolutely nothing. Currently, I'm just typing and sipping hot chocolate and Silver is sleeping. Kyra.
Friday the 13th. It's Silver. Today has been a really long and exhausting day for me. The whole town is preparing for the Bloody Woman ghost. It's the latest gossip around Maple Woods. Everyone expects her to return tonight because it's Friday the 13th. Today, the scientists haven't been testing on me due to many reasons. Instead, I've been selling umbrellas and helping Kyra put shades around. The blood of the Bloody Woman ghost is deadly, so in order to avoid it, we had to keep everything safe. Everyone in town has been quiet ever since the sign of the Bloody Woman ghost have been showing up. We all don't want to anger the ghost more. I had to go now. I know this wasn't really much, but everyone here is busy, and Kyra needs help loading some supplies, so see you guys in the next post. Silver out.
The Bloody Woman ghost arrives. Just as Silver typed in the post before, the town was preparing all day so that we would stay safe from the Bloody Woman ghost. We were putting up umbrellas and shades all around our section of the Maple Woods. Scientists are keeping both young children and valuable experiments mostly indoors. In fact, the scientist that I live with urged me to come inside, same for Silver and the scientist she lives with, but we both refused and decided to stay out to help. So while we were taking a break, I realized how stupid I was for not keeping track of the date, which is not particularly important unless you're a scientist. I went to go read Silver's post, and once I saw her title, Friday the 13th, my stomach instantly dropped. And that's how I truly know that the rain was a truly unreliable source of determining when the Bloody Woman ghost is about to come. At that moment, I knew she was coming today because we were all taught that years ago that the Bloody Woman ghost died that day. Well, she wasn't exactly dead. So what happened before was that she was once an experiment. This was even before this section of the Maple Woods existed. Anyway, the experiment went totally wrong and she got severely injured, but the scientists couldn't heal her no matter what. After weeks, she gained the ability to fly, side effects of the experiment, but she felt dead inside. This confused her a lot, so she started growing more impatient and more insane in a sense. So she ran away and comes out here randomly at times because she thinks that the scientists killed her, and it makes sense to her to hurt other people too. Luckily, both Silver and I were under an umbrella when her dark blood started raining on us. Everybody was screaming and shouting, some even crying out in pain because they were unfortunate enough not to be under any form of protection. I grabbed Silver and I held her close as the red rain continued. Chaos was everywhere, of course. Scientists pulling children indoors even if they don't belong to them. People running everywhere and crying out in pain when a drop of her acidic blood fell on their skin. I made Silver close her eyes, and good thing that I did, because minutes later I saw a still lifeless body on the ground. At that moment, I knew I had to get Silver out of here, so I pulled the umbrella out of the ground and dragged her quickly to the house that I lived in, which was luckily only a minute away. The scientists that I lived with, Cecilia and Darius, were already there and basically pulled us inside. Seconds afterwards, they put shades on all of our windows and were talking really fast. Silver went to a window which was yet to be covered and gasped. "Kyra, look," she called over. I immediately went over to her side and peeked out the window. My mouth hung wide open as I saw a glimpse of the Bloody Woman ghost passing right by our window. She wasn't there for long, but it was long enough for me to see her bloody brown hair and a darker shade of her brown eyes. It sent chills down my spine, and I suddenly became nervous. "Get away from there," said Cecilia, stomping towards our direction. "Darius, cover this window. I'm taking these girls to the pantry." Right now, Silver and I are in the pantry, and we're probably going to be stuck here for the rest of the night. Since Silver decided to open a bag of cookies, I'm going to stop here for today. Wish us good luck for the night. Kyra.
Silver in. Our computer is messed up. Kyra suggested I blog today since it's our only chance. The internet connection hasn't been the very best since the arrival of the Bloody Woman ghost. She damaged all of our supplies. The scientists believe that the Bloody Woman ghost will be returning soon, so we are trying to prepare ourselves for the worst. Maple Woods food supply is running low. We have no shelter and very little space. I have to go now, connection running low. Silver out.
Results. The results of the Bloody Woman ghost coming to Maple Woods is devastating for our town. Her toxic blood rain killed off some experiments and destroyed many things around town. Nobody was allowed to leave their houses for the last few days, but they finally let us out. The scientists expect her to return though, and with our food supplies running low, some scientists went out to the outside world to shop for supplies. Unfortunately, I didn't have much free time today. The scientists were experimenting on me till now. They said they wanted to make my eyes look starry, so they took a tool and quickly changed the color of my eyes. I looked in the mirror and they look stunning. They are purple with hints of blue and glittery specks everywhere. I didn't know what the purpose of the experiment was, but the results were amazing. Next, they did a more painful experiment. They decided to set my hair on fire. They put some green liquid on my head and then lit my red hair. I think the experiment was successful, but truthfully, I don't remember much of it. They probably gave me something so that I would forget the pain. My hair is naturally red from childhood because an experiment made it so. According to the scientists, my birth hair was black. A little bit before I decided to post on this blog, I went to go talk to Jade, a girl my age. She's a good source of what's going on in the town because she always knows what's going on. Need to know anything? She asked me before I even had the chance to open my mouth. I just want to know what's going around town, I replied. Remember Cody, the animal times human experiment? Yeah, he died when the BWG came. I heard one of his scientists was heartbroken because they apparently loved him. Don't know which one though. My bet's on math. I personally think Lydia. I'll let you know when I find anything else out. Thank you. With that, I went to Miss Gracie's house and decided to post on this blog. I wonder what Silver is up to. Probably spreading rumors. Kyra.
Back to normal. Hi guys. Kyra already explained what the Bloody Woman Ghost did to our town, but now everything is back to the way that it was. A little. Some have lost loved ones and many were wounded, but we all got the care. Kyra and I never really opened up about our friendship, so I would like to. Years ago when we were very young, Kyra and I were put together in a lab for testing. This was the scientists' first experiment on me, so they were very careful. Kyra and I were one of the young children there, and there were several teens and adults being tested on. Before the scientist's first experiment started on me, Kyra was the only one who comforted and told me that everything was going to be okay. She said, "It's completely normal and painless. The scientists won't lose you, and remember, I'm going to be right here." But a few years later, one experiment caused me to lose my leg. I don't remember how, but the scientists said I was fragile, and they said they couldn't do anything about it. The scientists put me to deep sleep and locked me in the lab for a few days, and then gossip spread it around. They were terrible rumors, but Kyra was the only one who knew what happened. She usually visited me often because she helped Dr. Martin. Kyra was always there to keep me sane, especially when the scientists performed many surgeries that left me permanent scars. We became very close afterwards, and in a few weeks, I was given an artificial leg. Nobody understands our friendship, but we are indeed inseparable. Signing off right now. I had to go help Mrs. Ward with Lobi, her subject. Silver out.
Barrier. Today was a school day, so I woke up early and I went over to the clothing shop so that I could help out with early morning customers before heading off to school. The first customer of the day was Ann Emerson. I studied her closely and she looked worse than ever. I don't exactly know what her scientists did to her, but the damage was most definitely permanent. Her jaw was hanging right open and her fingers looked as if they were stretched out and then painted with disgusting green paint. "How can I help you?" I asked softly as she approached me. "Sweetie, can you fix me up for a date?" she asked sweetly. I smirked and offered her a seat on a bench. "Who are you going out with?" I asked as I started to brush her hair in a fancy braid. She smiled. "Kyle Larkey. Sweet guy, isn't he?" I kneeled in front of her and took a handful of jewels and green liquid. "Never met him personally. Which experiment?" "He's a part of the organ replacement experiment." "Well, good luck with your date," I replied as I finished putting the last pieces of jewels under her eyes. I looked at her, and she looked fine, but I thought she looked a little too plain for a date, so I quickly took some eyeshadow and painted her eyelids a light purple color. Then I topped it off with a few strokes of eyeliner. "Thank you, sweetie," she said as she left the store. I smiled and I looked at the time. It was almost time for school, so I told everybody I was leaving, and then I dashed out the door to our tiny school. I did my research, and I find it weird how outsiders go for school for 180 days. I honestly wonder how you guys find the time. In the Maple Woods, we aren't really required to go to school. We go to school maybe once every 2 months, I guess. Experimenting honestly takes up a lot of time and energy. Anyway, school wasn't particularly interesting today. They were teaching math and science, which are subjects that I'm not particularly interested in. During lunch, my friend Chloe decided to do something stupid. She decided to go to the barrier. The barrier is basically the very edge of town that no one can go through. The scientists built it a long time ago so that nobody finds us. While I was there, I took a quick picture to show you guys. The fence is not the barrier. The scientists just put it there so it was easier to explain to children not to go over the fence. Anyways, Chloe decided that she could go through it without getting hurt, and since most children were young, they encouraged her to try. "You're going to get hurt," I said, but of course she just ignored me and then jumped at the barrier. Almost immediately, she was charged with green electricity. She started to cry. I rolled my eyes and then carried her all the way to the teacher so that they could deal with her. After school, Silver and I went around town and just walked around talking about life and stuff. Kyra.
So we're back. Hi guys, oh my gosh, it's been forever. The scientists haven't been letting Kara and I use the computer because we've been very busy with experiments and many different projects going around in Maple Woods. But sorry for the lack of posts from us. Lately, I've been in the labs, barely getting any sunlight and time to socialize with everyone outside. Also, the scientists have been working on a new, improved artificial leg for me. I'm super excited for it. The experiments are all over now because the scientists have been collecting a lot of data on my body. I'm free to do whatever until next week. Kara has been a huge support and motivator. They did difficult tests on me, but she was always right there by me. Well, gonna go and catch up a bit on gossip and adventures. See you in the next post.
Adventures. This is a picture that Silver drew on our computer. It's me and her. She's the one on the right and I'm the one on the left. This is so sweet. I seriously love this girl to death. Anyway, today Silver and I decided to go out adventuring in the lesser populated areas in the Maple Woods. It's been very tough with all the experiments going on, so we decided we deserved a little break. Especially Silver, because this girl is a fighter through all her experiments. Kyra, Silver said lazily as she poked me. Yeah, so? Can we visit Macy since we're going there? Absolutely not, I exclaimed while shaking my head and laughing. You believe everything that girl says. She once convinced you that the Maple Woods was a gigantic pancake that you could eat, and you started eating the ground. But Kyra, never again. Fine. But can we at least visit Kaylin? Silver looked at me with wide eyes. Yeah, that's fine. I smiled and held Silver's hand as we approached the more isolated part of the Maple Woods. This is where all the doctors, the elderly, and the used up live. Welcome, Miss Kyra and Miss Silver greeted the doctor. How can we help you? We're here to visit a friend, Silver yelled excitedly while bouncing up and down. I see, the doctor gently smiled. You girls best be on your way. With that, the doctor left and Silver and I headed towards the used up home. There we met up with Kaylin, a used up experiment about Silver's age. You look different, Kyra. What have the scientists done to you? Asked Kaylin. They made me more fabulous, of course, I replied with a smirk. Kaylin, do you have any new gossip for us? Silver asked with a grin. Of course, dear Silver. Kaylin lowered his voice. I heard Cecilia is pregnant. With whose baby? Asked Silver and I both at once. Kaylin laughed. I don't know, but I'll let you know when I find out. Afterwards, Silver and I returned back to our section of the Maple Woods, and we went to the clothing shop so that I could work. After that, Silver and I both went back to our houses. When I returned back to mine, I looked at Cecilia closer to see if what Kaylin had said was true. Cecilia did seem to have a bigger stomach, plus Kaylin must have seen her with the doctors testing to see if she had a tiny life form inside of her. Anyway, I have to go rest and just relax now. Kyra.
Old Patrick. Hey guys, for the past week, Karen and I have been catching up with some old friends. We found out that Cecilia is pregnant, as Kyra said in her last post, and many other rumors. Well, yesterday, Kyra and I visited an old friend, Patrick. He's a crazy old man that lives in Maple Woods for as long as we can remember. Patrick claims that he can tell the future, but we all know it's nonsense after he refused to take his doses. We stopped by old Patrick's to see what's new. He greeted us warmly and caught us up with all the gossip in town. Kyra told him about Cecilia, and Patrick says he knew Cecilia was pregnant 3 months ago. Of course, it's just nonsense. Before we left, Patrick looked us both in the eye and told us something very unusual and creepy. I can tell by the look in his face that he was extremely frightened, but I wasn't sure if old Patrick was serious or just kidding. Kyra told me not to worry about it, so we both shrugged the thought off. What Patrick said is just as crazy nonsense after all. Last night, I kind of told everyone, but it didn't seem to bother them. The scientists also laughed it off. I guess Patrick is just playing games. Well, this is the last post for now. Silver out.
Missing, Eva. So when I woke up, I realized that a breathing body was resting in my arms. I quickly looked down and sighed in relief that it's Silver. We had a sleepover last night, which was awesome. Outsiders seem to have sleepovers all the time, but it's different for us. Because it's essential that we stay with our scientists, they must plan out sleepovers months in advance, or we have them when there's an emergency outside. Anyway, I gently woke Silver up and told her it was morning time. We both got ready and ran to the kitchen for breakfast. We expected Darius in the kitchen making oatmeal, but he wasn't there for some reason, so we both got some bread and milk instead. As we ate, I noticed there was a lot of screaming and noise outside. "What's happening out there?" I asked Silver as she bit into her bread. "Is the bloody woman ghost back?" "I don't think so," said Silver, "but it's strange that Cecilia and Darius aren't here." "Yeah, maybe there's some other emergency outside. We probably shouldn't go out today." We both finished our breakfast and then went to the living room to look out the windows. Everybody was yelling and papers were flying everywhere. "Silver, go and get one of those papers, okay?" With that, Silver quickly opened the front door and grabbed the piece of paper and ran back inside. We both looked at it and then looked at each other with worry. The paper said, "Missing, Eva." This made my head pound tremendously. How could Eva go missing? Like Birdie. This didn't make sense one single bit to me. Eva was only a 9-year-old child. "Kyra, Silver." Darius came running through the door. "Don't come outside." "We know," I said, as Silver held up the paper. Darius sighed and rubbed his head with his hands. "The Maple Woods isn't shut down, so Silver will have to stay here for a while. Go to your room, Kyra, along with Silver." I let Darius's words sink into me, and I started to freak out as Silver held my hand on our way to my room. When the Maple Woods shuts down, nobody is allowed to go outside for at least a week, unless you're a scientist. And all experiments are held up until the problem is resolved or until it's temporarily safe. "How did Eva escape, Kyra?" asked Silver, jumping on my bed. "This is only the second time someone was able to escape. What went wrong?" "I'm not sure. Maybe Birdie and Eva are similar in one way. I feel scared." "Me too, Kyra. But on the bright side, I get to stay here for a week." "You're right, Sil. Come on, let's go draw something." So now, as I'm typing this, Silver is on the floor drawing some doodles of the Maple Woods, and I'm going to go join her. Kyra. Unfortunately, Silver and I were never able to finish this story, but we are both glad that our blog still exists today so that we can revisit it anytime. I wanted to thank Silver for being a part of this video as well as being a part of my life for so many years. I couldn't have done any of this without you.